Go to 64 here, back with another guide video for Black Desert Online. Today I'll show you a sequence of daily quests that you can do for contribution. It's a sequence of quests that I find quite efficient in terms of how much contribution they give compared to how long time it takes to do it. If you do this sequence of quests, you'll get a total of 2,860 contribution, perhaps 240 more, depending on your luck with a couple of optional quests. And normally the sequence takes somewhere between 60 and 80 minutes to do, somewhat depending on your experience with this sequence, as well as the speed of your horse and your AP. So let's get started. On the road, just near Mansha Forest, you'll find 4 NPCs that give you 4 quests. All of these quests require you to kill Manshas or Rhutums. It's a lot of Manshas you have to kill, but they tend to group together, so if you just use AoEs, you can clear them pretty quick. So that was done with the Manshas, and now we move on to the Rhutums. And that completed all the Rhutums quests, so now it's just back to turn in. The town Olvia has a lot of daily quests. I've selected a group of 12 quests that I find I can do fairly efficient. I start here at the western side of town. The first quest is here. And I consider this one an optional quest, as I won't necessarily complete it. It depends how lucky I am with the gathering. And then the milk quest here. And there's another milk quest which can be done simultaneously, so that's quite efficient. We find that here. And we can do both of these by just milking one cow. And here I take potatoes because they come in handy at another quest. And here I take eggs, which are also useful in a later cooking quest. Now I'll move on to the storage, as we need some additional supplies. And first I will grind some of these potatoes into flour, as we need that for a cooking quest. So we'll need 4 flour. And we also need 7 chicken meat. And we should keep 15 potatoes for making beer. And then we'll move up here where we can get the cooking quests.
Would you like to try some of my butter grilled potatoes? Is there a happier time in life than when you're eating?
And note here that the quest A Poultry Dish requires some amity with the NPC.
If you want to learn cooking, you should go to Belgium.
So first we need to dry some milk, so it was quite handy that we already milked the cow. So that was that, and again I like to pick eggs here.
You can make soup with brains.
Then we need to buy 30 mineral water, 2 cooking wine, 2 salt, 6 leavening agent, and 3 sugar. And I have my residence right next door with a cooking utensil. So first I'll make the boiled bird eggs, and I make 2 of these. And now let's make some beer. And finally we'll do the fried bird. And you'll notice you need eggs here, and we needed eggs for the boiled bird eggs also, so that's why I took some eggs from the previous quests. And you also need pepper, and if you don't have any pepper you can actually get that by completing the quest for the boiled bird eggs. And we just need to do 1 of these. So let's turn in, and here I select pepper, since they are useful for doing this quest in the future.
Would you like to try some of my butter?
And again I take some pepper here.
This is 1 circle.
And now we'll move on. We actually need to go up here first and get this quest from the material vendor. And again, this is a quest you have to unlock first with amity.
Smell of fresh bread?
Then we need to go to the eastern side of town. We'll get the quest from the skill instructor. And we'll also move down here and get the quest for old tree. But again, this is an optional quest. I will complete it if I'm lucky enough to get the tree bark that's required, and otherwise I will just save it for the next day. So this is a bit of bonus contribution when it succeeds. And finally we go down to the general goods vendor, get the quest Julietta's Hobby, which again is an unlockable quest. And all of these quests require us to chop down maple trees. So I'll need an axe, and I'll put on my gathering clothes for speed. And fortunately there's a lot of maple trees here in town, so you can just run around town and find some trees to chop down, at least if someone else hasn't already done it. So the lumbering took a little longer today than it normally does, as someone had just done all the trees inside town. So I had to go a bit outside of town to find some maple trees that I could use. But on the positive side, I did get a spirit leaf, which means I can complete this quest. And now I need to process the maple logs. And I would like to keep 10 maple logs for another quest that we'll do later. So I won't process all of it. And then we also need to process the regular logs here. And again, we would like to keep some if possible. Unfortunately, I get to keep 16. So now we just need to go and complete the quests. And I was actually also lucky enough today to complete the old tree quest. So we get the maximum value here. And that was it for Olvia. So now we are in Heidel, and here I only do 3 quests, but they are very easy quests as long as you have 3 items in your inventory. You need 1 red tree lump, 1 spirit leaf, and then 10 maple, which I had here. So that's why I saved some maple from the quests in Olvia. So the first quest is here. And this simply requires you to hand in 1 spirit leaf, and then you're done. Next one is over here, the versatile maple, so that's why we kept the maple. And again, you just have to hand in the maple and then you're done. And finally, we'll jump down here. And visit the general goods vendor. And here we just have to give a red tree lump, and then we're done with that. So that was 3 very fast quests. And of course it's important that you have these items in your inventory, so if you don't have them, you can just buy a stack from the market and always have them available for doing this quest. At the Stonetail Horse Ranch, we find 5 quests. The first 3 are from the node manager here. And one of them simply requires us to hand in 15 logs. So again, this is why I wanted to keep some logs from my lumbering session in Olvia. So now I can hand them in immediately. And that was the first quest. So the next one requires milking some cows, which we can find here. And then we have to go and move this wheelbarrow. And the time on this quest, of course, depends on how terrible you are at moving a wheelbarrow. And here you could select some potatoes that could come in handy at Olvia next day. The next two quests are back here. So here I only take the one called Safety Guard at the race grounds. So now we have to find a raccoon. And there's one here. And then we need to go up to the race grounds. And the objective is clearly marked over here. So we'll turn this in, as well as the other one, and that's it for Stonetail Ranch. If your gear is good enough to deal with level 54 to 56 enemies, then you can go over here to Sama Outpost in Medea. And here you'll find a number of quests for the Saucon Garrison. You'll get 2 quests from this guy. And another 2 over here in the middle. And there's also an easy quest over here in the back. And here you just have to carry one of these bags. So this is your first 100 contribution as well as some stamina experience. So now let's head over to the Saucon Garrison. If you are in the mid-50s, like I am, then the Saucon camp is also a good source of experience. So this would also be a good time to do your daily grinding hour. And of course, this is one of the easiest daily quests to get contribution, so remember to do this every day. It should also be noted that the Source and Garrison is a quite popular place for people to go and grind. So there may be people who want to try and kill you to protect the spawns. So you should take that into account when you go here. And that was the last one, so now it's just back to turn in. That was the end of the sequence, so at this point you should have earned at least 2,860 contribution. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching.